Welcome to another edition of the Tiger Football Report. I'm your host, Spiro Maricas, along with the head coach of the Tigers, Pete Shinnick. And Coach, the Tigers traveled to Cincinnati last week for the first time ever, took on the Bearcats, lost a tough ball game 38-20. The first thing that stands out, you put up well over 400 yards of offense against an FBS football team that is now in the Big 12. So not just FBS, but Power 4 FBS.
Sure. No, and I'm extremely happy with what we were able to do offensively for the most part. As you and I were talking off camera, I felt like we still left some things on the table there and feel like we probably could have scored a few more points with a few more opportunities. But really like how our offensive line held up. We had to sub in a couple of guys after some injuries, and they handled that sub well and still was able to play at a very high level. I feel like our running backs showed what they could do, how well they could run. All three of them had explosive plays, which is exactly what we'd hoped for. And then I think as Carlos got settled in, you got a chance to see what he's capable of. The accuracy that he throws the ball with, as well as his ability to move in the pocket. I think of that one drive where, it was 3rd and long and everything was covered. He stepped up, got us to a 4th down manageable play, and then, we were able to, find a way to make the 4th down conversion. So really like what we saw. And then, you throw in our wide receivers, and I feel like we've got a group that you're going to have to do a great job of, really defending the whole field.
You look, in rushing the football, you averaged over 5 yards, and all three guys are a little different. Matthews, Green, and Watkins are all a little different. They all had nice ball games.
They really did, and I think, Devin is the workhorse, and, what Devin's average probably going to be a little lower than the other guys because he takes some of the early, the early plays, figuring things out, but he had 2 or 3 dynamic runs, what we loved. T. Green is playing as well as we've ever seen him. He ended the season last year for us. I think understanding the offense, he had a great spring, and then his explosiveness on that outside run and, the inside runs as well looked great. And Chris has really just picked up right where he left off. He scored the go-ahead touchdown against Rhode Island and has picked up, right at that. Every time he's in, something good's going to happen. So it's an explosive combination, and we're fired up for him. All 3 seniors, all doing great jobs.
Now, you mentioned the wide receivers and J.C. Doss. Boy, did he show speed on that 76-yard touchdown run, which was a 7-yard pass and then 69 yards after the catch. And then Dunmore with a great reception in the end zone for a touchdown.
Well, reality is, I haven't watched the broadcast, but when did you call it a touchdown? Because we're all standing on the sideline going, did he catch that? Is that really?
And then we saw
everybody on the sideline was like, what happened? We saw the towel go up in the air, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden they signal touchdown. I was like, man, that's a heck of a catch. No, he has proven time and time again in practice. He has made numerous catches like that. And Jayceon, we knew he was fast, we knew he was quick, but that was a great burst right there to outrun the entire secondary of Cincinnati. Like you said, 7-yard completion, 69 yards of just running away from people, and that was wonderful to see. Anytime you can do that, and then there's plays where he didn't get the ball, where he was behind people. And so I think we got a couple of great deep threats to complement. I think DK James had a really good game. He handled himself well, was able to catch some tough balls and collisions. Lucas Londano, he played very, very well. Carter Runyon, I thought, for not really practicing during fall camp because of his injury, and then to be able to be 100% healthy, really only getting a week of practice, I thought he looked great. So I'm excited about where we are offensively.
All right, now, this week, the Battle for Baltimore rivalry between Morgan and Towson. Last year, the Bears were one of the best defensive teams in all of FCS football. They really turned their season around last year from the prior year. And Taj Smith the other day against Hampton had a nice ball game. He doesn't throw a lot, but he also was able to run the football, which makes the passing a little more effectively. He only threw 8 passes, completed 5 for 75 yards. What do they present for you on the defensive end of the football coming into Saturday?
Yeah, Taj, I think, really played within himself against Hampton. and a great compliment to him because I think he knows his strengths, he knows his weaknesses. He took off out of the pocket, and I mean, he was like a bullet shot out of a gun. I mean, just going, and I mean, he was down the field. So he showed his explosiveness, showed his athleticism, and I thought he threw the ball well. They picked and chose when they wanted to throw. I thought he did a great job really running the offense, commanding the offense, doing what they needed. They got a lead early. Hampton kind of chipped away at it late in the game, but they just kept pressure on Hampton's defense with their running game, and then with him scrambling, and then with him with some controlled runs. So we got to be very, very fundamentally sound. And coming off the Cincinnati game, I think you look at the number of explosive plays that Cincinnati had. I think we contributed to a lot of those, whether it was a miscommunication or a wrong gap or a blown coverage, whatever it was. But then some of those were just, that's Cincinnati being Cincinnati and playing at a very high level. Again, they were top 5 in the nation in running the ball last year. So we knew with 5 returning starters, a great backfield that they had, we knew that was going to be difficult. And then you throw in the seasoned quarterback who came in, I thought, for Cincinnati played a great game. So going into Morgan, being able to contain that, obviously we want to limit the explosive plays, but really keep them a little bit in check. It's going to start with their run game, but I would not be surprised if, Morgan throws the ball more against us. I think they knew what they had to do to beat Hampton, and they did it. And then I could see them airing it out. They took a lot of deep shots against us a year ago, and I expect them to do the same.
What did you see from them on the defensive side? Hampton was able to move the ball on them.
Yeah, so I think very similar. Again, they were one of the top FCS defenses last year. Again, we were able to score 20 on them. Might have been one of the more points scored against them. The fact that Hampton put up 28, I still think this is a really good defense. And they're very solid against the run. They're very structured in their secondary as to how they umbrella you and keep things in front of you. So we're going to have to be challenged to be on point. We're going to have to really be dialed in. Carlos has got to play a little more accurate than he did. Offensive line's got to be able to continue to develop and gel to be able to pick up some of their stunts and some of their movements that they do. So I think it'll be a really good game, but I need us to be playing at a higher level.
All right, so the Tigers and the Bears will do it again this Saturday, 6 o'clock, Johnny Unitas Stadium. Hope everybody can come on out for the Gold Rush. Gordy Combs and I will have it for you on Monumental Sports, TowsonTigers.com, and Flow TV if you can't make it out to the U. So for the head coach of the Towson University Tigers, Pete Shinnick, I'm Spiro Marikas, and thanks for tuning in to another edition of the Tiger Football Report.